Hello and welcome. My name is Morgan Anderson, and I'm one of the college outreach coordinators at Mid-State Technical College. I'm excited you've joined us for our Stay on Track webinar series. Today, we have the opportunity to hear about continuing education from one of our Mid-State experts. I'm going to ask that you mute your microphone, and if you have questions, you can use the chat feature located at the bottom of the webinar screen. And I'm going to now introduce Heather Grys-Luecht. Heather joined Mid-State in November of 2016 and is based in our Workforce and Economic Development Division as the Manager of Continuing Education. She also is serving as the current chair of the Wisconsin Technical College System Statewide Workforce Training and Economic Development Work Group. Wow, Heather, that's a mouthful. Heather has over 15 years of leadership and program development experience in emergency services, both nonprofit and government healthcare and higher education. She has a bachelor's in biology and chemistry, technical diplomas in EMS and firefighting, and a master's degree in management and leadership. She's also finishing up a second master's degree in business administration. When Heather isn't attending to continuing education and lifelong learning needs, you'll find her tending to chickens or crops on the small farm she shares with her husband, on the road with her bike or motorcycle, or enjoying sunshine with her 4 cats, Mozart, Sammy, Oliver, and Eddie. Heather, I'm going to turn it over to
Morgan.
you.
Thanks, Morgan. Well, I'm going to start right away by sharing a presentation. All right, are you able to see that? Now I've lost the audio, so hang on a second, Morgan.
Looks good, Heather.
All right, let's try that again. Morgan, can you just say?
I can see your screen. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that I can hear you because when I see the screen, I can't see the chat.
Sure, so and I'll monitor the chat.
Sounds great. So thanks for letting me have some time to talk with everyone today. We'll be talking about continuing education at Mid-State Technical College. And in continuing education, we really want to offer a little bit of something for everyone. So lifelong learning, why do we need it? Well, the world, especially now, is really changing at a frantic pace. And lifelong learning is that continuous building of skills and knowledge, attributes, and behaviors across the lifespan. And if we don't continue to grow and develop, we really risk being left behind. We live in a knowledge-based economy now with new technologies. The speed of technology and the speed of change is really pretty amazing. And there's true globalization now. I think more than ever, we are really paying attention to things that are happening both locally and across our world. And so we need to continue to improve our skills and competencies. So lifelong learning and continuing education can really enhance that social inclusion. It can promote active citizenship and hopefully lead to friendships and both personal and professional development. Many people have a natural need to learn, and continuing education can really enrich and fulfill our lives. So what exactly is continuing education? Well, at Mid-State, we tend to group continuing education into 2 separate buckets. Those buckets are professional development and personal enrichment. And some of the classes that we offer really couldn't fit into both of those separate categories, depending on why an individual might be attending that class. And then within those classes, we have a few different types of learning that we offer. We have formal learning, which really is that organized and structured learning, those activities and competencies that we truly plan to have happen. And informal learning, which we also plan, but it's a little bit more experiential, and it's where we encourage students to experiment a little bit, to learn from both their successes and their failures. And then non-formal learning, which includes intentionally embedded opportunities within those planned activities that are really designed to be a little bit less structured, but allow students to learn from and with each other. So, and while these classes are all taught by experts and are soundly designed for high quality learning experiences and may have occupational or vocational focuses, not all of our classes lead to degrees like the program classes do. Sometimes they lead to credentials, but certainly not degrees. All right, so what do we offer? Professional development. So that's our first bucket. And those are really our classes and workshops that are designed to help keep people current on their skills, maybe give them an opportunity to learn new competencies and help achieve professional goals. Midstate really wants to provide a venue for professionals across different industry sectors to connect with each other and share up-to-date research and best practices. So courses are offered across industries to meet a variety of needs. Some of our classes are certification classes that offer things that people need for licensure, like EMS refreshers, CPR, ACLS, and PALS. We do seminars and workshops or conferences that offer opportunities for individuals to earn CEUs to maintain licenses like those needed in professional engineering or for plumbers or medical assistants, and also to meet requirements for certifications in quality, fire, or law enforcement. Some of the titles that we provide, I think we went a little far. Some of the titles that we provide are things like Excel Fundamentals, Excel Beyond the Basics. We have classes in QuickBooks. We have a series on the functioning of local government called All Politics is Local. We have classes for agricultural and businesses and farmers on nutrient management planning, situational awareness and de-escalation, new forester training that we partner with the DNR to provide, disagreeing without being disagreeable and building better relationships, leadership development. So things that are really classes that might provide skills that are used in the field or skills that are used in an office setting. And then we can also provide custom professional trainings to individuals or groups or of businesses. And classes might be paid for by individuals or by employers. And the costs of these courses are based on the actual costs of delivering the education and any fees that might be required by professional organizations, as well as certain events that may have grant funding or sponsorships can impact the cost of the classes. So it really can be quite a range.
Heather, we have our first question in the chat. Can you
Sure.
share when these classes are offered? Is it based on request, or what does the schedule look like?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Morgan. So the schedule of classes is based on what the need looks like. You know, we try to work with our different businesses and different industry organizations to learn what works for them. An example would be the land surveyor seminar that's typically offered in the fall of the year, because that's what works for the industry when things are maybe starting to wind down a little bit, but also before their requirements are due, before they have to submit those. The Winter Tech Talk for the Wisconsin DOT, that was offered also in the late fall of the year before the season began for snow removal, because that Tech Talk focused on some of the best practices and current research on keeping our roads safe and clear during the winter months. So classes really can be offered a wide range of times. And along with that, Morgan, is also the mode of classes. We know that things have been changing a little bit lately. Continuing education has historically tended to be more in-person or face-to-face offerings, but we're starting to change that up a little bit and offer things in a more online format, both synchronous and asynchronous. So what that means is maybe it will be sitting just like we are right now, talking face-to-face, or maybe some of the things will be recorded.
Great, thank you.
All right. So the next bucket, personal enrichment. So with our personal enrichment classes, what we really want to do is have opportunities that are inspirational and innovative. We want to give people the chance to explore new activities, develop new skills, find ways that they maybe haven't done before to have fun and experience joy, maybe enhance their wellness and just enrich their life. And you can see in some of these images here that we have people that are smiling and looking like they're having a lot of fun. A gal that created an owl out of scrap steel in our metal garden sculpture class. Someone who looks like they've got some purple hands, fortunately, on top of their gloves in an acrylic pour painting class. And the instructor talking with a student about a project in Intro to Woodworking. So personal enrichment class titles. Again, we offer a whole host of different topic areas, and it's really designed to meet a wide variety of interests and needs. When you come to Midstate, looking for classes that might give you an opportunity to learn some new skills or offer you an opportunity to experiment and just learn for fun, or you might be learning a new card game or trying out snowshoeing for the first time or investigating new art techniques. Some of the classes that we offer in our personal enrichment series are finding your family roots. So that would be a genealogy and a family history exploration. The Learning Kitchen is quite popular. That's our cooking series of classes. We offer many different menu topics, including things like salad sensations, build a better burger, soothing soups, French farmhouse cooking, seafood cuisine, homemade condiments, and many, many more. We have a baking series as well. And we have an Instant Pot expert that works at Midstate who loves to share her recipes for using her Instant Pot in many different ways. I know that she's made yogurt and pudding and beans and tacos and just a wide variety of things. We have classes in straw bale gardening and assemblage art, metal garden sculpture, painting and drawing for pleasure. You can come and learn to knit or crochet, taking better pictures. So we have some photography classes. Hoop it up. Maybe you're interested in learning some of the terms that you hear during basketball games. Small engine maintenance and brewing fundamentals are a couple of new offerings for us that we're excited to be able to offer. Write your life story, dance for theater, the art of acting, improv workshop, which is one of those that certainly could be for both business or pleasure. Social cribbage, sheep's head for beginners, geocaching. And then we can also use these personal enrichment classes to craft custom learning activities and experiences that can be used for businesses as well to really help increase that level of engagement and participation during those workplace and industry trainings. We can take serious topics and really insert a little bit of fun into them. Our enrichment classes are generally paid for by the individuals who are taking the class. And we really try to keep that price fair based on what it actually costs us to put on the class to both pay for the instructor and the materials. An important note is that we do not receive funding from the state to support these types of fun life and leisure courses.
Heather, is there a minimum age to participate?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Morgan, and we are getting to that next. So good segue. We have some things that we do offer uniquely for youth. We want to give youth the experience, give them an opportunity to have fun while they're gaining life skills, learning about possible career paths, as well as make connections with peers and possible future employers. So here's some examples of things that we've done in the recent past at primarily our manufacturing camps is kind of on this side of the screen, spending some time doing design work, some quality testing and production of some products, as well as touring the local manufacturing facilities. This young man here in the lower left-hand side of the screen, I remember when he came to one of our first metal garden sculpture classes, very excited because he had a welder at home and he came to learn how to use a welder so he could be allowed to use his welder at home. And he has now been with Midstate through a number of different classes, progressing from CE through program classes. And so he stayed with us for quite a while and started his career off on a great foot with Midstate. But it's not just about the youth either. It's learners of all ages. We have individuals ranging from 8 to 84. We really do try to offer something for everyone. Here's a picture of some individuals inoculating logs in an edible mushroom cultivation class. Some folks showing off their plating technique at a cooking class. Here are some of the projects that have been knitted in our knitting and different gift knits classes. And these two instructors were actually up at Channel 7. They did some promotion for us. They went and showed their craft and got people excited about our knitting classes. Pour painting classes, woodworking, and again, metal garden sculpture. And this individual, this girl, she had been a surgical technologist for 20 years. And the reason she came to Midstate was twofold. Number one, she heard about our metal garden sculpture class. She had friends that had taken it and had a great time, and she wanted to come and have some fun. But also she was getting burned out in the OR and wanted to experience welding, and this was a safe way to do it without having to take a whole program class to see if that was something that maybe she wanted to change her career to. And the project she made was actually for a local 4-H club who was donating some benches to the fairgrounds. So she wanted to make a plaque for them to be able to put on the benches. So that was pretty cool. And then parents and kids at heart. It's really interesting to me the number of parent and child combinations, and not always the old and young, but sometimes the old and older combinations that come and take our classes together and really build some of those connections.
Heather, is there an opportunity for someone to become an instructor for these enrichment courses?
Yes, there is, Morgan, and we will. I'll show you when we get to the website where people can sign up and give me that information that they're interested in teaching. But we certainly are always looking for instructors for different classes.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
And so this is just an example of some of the different conferences and professional development audiences that we've served over the past few years. Wisconsin DOT, we had fun that day. We actually had 6 snowplows that were brought in and sat on our law enforcement emergency vehicle operations track for display and to teach about some of the different techniques and the new techniques that are being used in snow and de-icing. Of course, our healthcare field, we serve them through a variety of different simulation trainings. People out in the field doing renewable energy work, and those that maybe work in an office. This is from our Administrative Professionals Conference last year, and then land surveyors. So some of the unique partnerships that we're fortunate to have through the continuing education program. One is with the Mid-State Technical College Foundation. Through the foundation's focus on helping the college grow, helping the community grow, and helping people grow, Mid-State Continuing Education will benefit starting in fiscal 21 through a partnership with the foundation to offer scholarships for both professional development and personal enrichment opportunities. And we'll be particularly looking to serve the underserved or challenged populations across our district community. So we're grateful to the foundation board for recognizing that lifelong learning and continuing education is really important to everyone in our district. And then also a unique community engagement activity that's a partnership with the civil engineering program is to create and deploy our own geocaches. So this activity was a follow-up that came out of the geocaching class that we offer. So it allows us to have closely available learning activities for the class. We have caches. If you're a geocacher, go check it out on geocaching.com. We have geocaches deployed on our campus, and we think that's an innovative way to offer just a little bit of a taste of the college to the community. Some of the caches are pretty quick to solve, but others definitely will require a little bit of effort and thinking. All right, so then next we'll go to the website before we come back to this page and look at a few things there. All right, so when you go to Mid-State, you can get to the continuing education page in multiple different ways. There's a menu that if you hover on it, and it drops down and you want to look for continuing education, or if you want to type it in, it's mstc.edu/continuing ed. It will take you to the same place. And then as we scroll down the page, again, you can see, we really want to offer something for everyone. And right now we have a button that will take you down to the different categories. So here you see the 2 different primary buckets that we talked about, professional development and the personal enrichment. There's a couple of additional ones, public safety and emergency services and CPR. These tend to be pretty specialized classes, but also that a lot of different people need. So those are professional development classes, but we do separate them out. So I'll click on the enrichment courses. So all of our pages you'll see are kind of laid out the same. It's arranged chronologically. Many of our courses have been postponed. Again, those are our in-person courses. We know that we have some public health concerns right now, and we're working to overcome some of those with some of the new offerings that you'll be seeing from us. But you can always come to these pages and check out what we've got going on. Click on the class number to get a little bit more information, see if we have other sections happening, and then click to complete the registration form. All right, now we'll go back to continuing education page. Some other things of note on the main page, gift certificates. Give the gift of education. That's always a great opportunity. If you know someone that wants to take a class and maybe you know specifically what it is, you can fill this form out specifically for the name of the class. But maybe you don't know what they want to take, and maybe you just want to give them the opportunity to browse through our catalog and check it out. You can just give a certain amount on the gift certificate. So when you fill this form out, someone from the college will contact you to complete that process and make sure we get that gift delivered on time. All right, and Morgan, this is the right button here for anyone interested in teaching continuing ed. We are always looking for instructors across many different things. The requests that I get are widely varied, including juggling and magic, as well as fly fishing and fly tying, and really any number of things that you could imagine. In continuing education, we really like to think of ourselves as the connectors. We can identify people that can teach and identify the audience that's looking for what they can teach, and vice versa. So if you're interested to put your name in the hat for being able to offer something, you can just fill this form out and that will come right to the continuing education email, and we'll be in contact with you.
Sorry to interrupt. Is that also where someone would submit an idea for a class?
Yes, this would be the best place to submit an idea for the class as well. And then particularly, it's always helpful if you have an idea that goes along with someone who knows how to teach for that idea.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Morgan. All right, and join our mailing list. When we send out our new list of classes, if you join our mailing list, we'll make sure you get those, and then general contact. They're all very similar forms. All right. And I'm going to go back to the presentation. So what's coming up? So as I've alluded to a couple of times, it was a bit of a hiccup for us this spring when we had to cancel many of our face-to-face classes. And for the foreseeable future, we know that we may have to do things a little bit differently than we've done in the past. But we really have instructors that are excited to meet this challenge and really to help their own professional development, having to learn new technologies. And so we've got some courses coming up. In fact, we have one that starts tonight, very soon, Finding Your Family Roots, that runs for 4 consecutive Tuesdays. Not too late to get in on that course once we're done with this conversation tonight. And in fact, if you wanted to even chat it in the chat box, we can get you directed to the right place to get you hooked up to get into that class. Next week, Thursday on May 21st, we have a Learning Kitchen course, New Mexican Enchiladas. I think that's going to be a great class. It's going to be from a native from the state and who can teach us a little bit about the cultural anthropology of the class. The way we're going to do that class is in a kit format. So I certainly encourage people to register early for our classes. Many of our classes will be done via kits for now. We will be giving you information. We'll have that kit prepared. You'll have everything that you'll need in that kit, plus a supply list for things like plates or knives. And then we'll be communicating with anyone that registers for those courses about how you can get your materials and how you'll have everything that you need while you work right along with the instructor. It'll be a live class, face-to-face. You'll have that opportunity to ask questions and to hopefully maybe make some acquaintances just over the computer. Then the day after, Friday, May 22nd, we'll be offering straw bale gardening. Again, that will be synchronous. We do have some items that we need to supply to you. So again, I recommend registering as soon as possible so that you can get that get that information, get us your information so that we can get you the booklet and all of the things that we'll need you to have for the class in advance. And then things that you'll be seeing very soon, classes on Excel and Zoom. We will have a wooden herb planters class that's going to be kitted. That'll be very fun to get all of your wooden pieces and your seeds and work along with our instructors as you build wooden herb planters and plant some herbs. Summer manufacturing camps this year will also be virtual, and that will be a fun box that gets sent out to students. And then things that I think will go along really well with finding your family roots, writing your life story, virtual storytelling, and oral history taking are offerings that will be on tap very soon. And I would encourage you to go to mstc.edu/continuing ed to keep your eyes open, check out those classes, like us on Facebook so you get the latest news as soon as those classes are ready to go for registration.
Great, Heather, I have a few questions.
All right.
So are the class resources all included in the course fee?
Yes. So typically our classes, we try to have everything as one free and giving the student everything that they need. So typically, let's use a cooking class for an example. When you come to a cooking class, you would come and just need to bring yourself and your own apron if you like, but otherwise we even supply an apron for use. We supply all of the food, all of the cooking utensils and equipment that's needed. We're just shifting how we do that a little bit. When we do the kits, we're including most of the recipe items, and then there may be some equipment that gets included depending on the nature of the class. For example, wooden herb planters, there'll be some small hand tools that are included, but everything is that fee, and then we'll just let you know how you get that kit.
Great, thank you. And typically or traditionally, are classes always held on the Mid-State campus?
No, oftentimes they're held on the Mid-State campus. Of course, we have unique facilities that aren't found other places, like our welding lab, but we have partnerships with different organizations such as ODC and the Adams Community Center, the Rome Library. So we partner with community organizations that may have space that has different resources than we do, or just to get the classes out from the campuses to make it a little bit closer for multiple communities to access them.
Wonderful. And one of the last questions I have is in regards to courses that would create some level of credit. How do they request a transcript?
Sure. So that would be really important for those professional development courses that are needed for any type of credentialing or for licensure maintenance. So that would create a transcript that'll look a little bit different than the academic program transcript, but that can be requested also through contacting student services and letting them know that you need your continuing education transcript.
Great. Are there any continuing ed classes where Mid-State would offer foreign language?
That's a good question. We have offered Spanish in the past, and I'm looking at American Sign Language as well. That's a request that I get. Thought I had a line on somebody to teach some German because I had a couple of requests for German, but that hasn't worked out. So to anybody listening that might be able to teach a foreign language, go ahead and go to the website and submit your name to me.
Get in touch with Heather. Great. Well, let's just give it a few minutes to see if there's any other questions that viewers may have.
Sure. So Morgan, what did you think about some of those creations that you saw from people in metal garden sculpture? I'm always amazed at what I see coming out of our classes.
It makes me want to weld. I'm impressed, especially because it's so short term. So to see what they can create in, is it 2 nights?
That class is 2 nights, yes.
And 2 nights is amazing.
Yeah, and that's one of my most favorite classes, especially about the first 30 minutes. We bring in students that may have never even set foot in a shop before. They're very much out of their element, but make sure that they know in advance what they need to do to be safe when they come in. We give them a list of required clothing. Don't wear anything that melts, thick cotton pants, heavy heavy shoes, preferably leather uppers, just things to make them safe. We bring them in, teach them a little bit about what is short circuit welding, make sure they understand what they're doing, and then get them into the lab fairly quickly, talk about safety, start putting them in PPE. And that's when it gets exciting for me. People who you have to teach them how to use the ratchet on the welding helmet. You have to, just explain to them how they need to keep themselves safe and making sure that they have their protective helmet down and they keep their safety glasses on. And then we disperse them each into their booths. And as the instructors start to go around and turn on the welders, you see students standing in their booths in the very center, hands usually clasped, and you come in and how's it going? You ready to get going? I'm not touching anything. But they start from that place of fear, and they come out 2 nights later with just these amazing creations, just the things that they make with saw blades and springs and things that you would never imagine. And then we're so fortunate to have instructors that have both the technical skill and the creativity to help bring those creations to life. Because we're certainly in that class not making professional welders. They're not going out tomorrow to get a welding job, but they had a new experience. Maybe they want to learn more, but they were able to create and to have some fun and to build some relationships. That class, we have a lot of repeat takers. People who every time we offer the class, they'll sign up. The unfortunate piece is I can't do that class as a kit. I just can't swing the sending the welder home with people, but we'll be back soon. We'll be back soon and able to do it again.
We look forward to it, definitely. One more question that popped in, is there an opportunity to try a class before taking it? Can they audit the course?
So that's a good question that we really haven't had asked before. Continuing education classes generally tend to be very short term. Sometimes they're as short as an hour. Sometimes they're longer. Sometimes they're multiple weeks. I think my recommendation, I think about some of the longer classes that we have. My recommendation would be to sign up for the class. And if after a class or two, we really feel that it just isn't working out, then let's talk. Let's talk about what resolution would look like for us.
Great. What's a traditional class size?
Oh, great question. Really depends on the class. We really have had quite an uptick. People were finding out about the Mid-State continuing education and all of the great things that my fantastic instructors have been offering and able to do. And class sizes have been generally going up. Most recently, I'd say good average sizes were probably between 6 and 10. Some classes I think that we had offered maybe the first time around had lower attendance, but we keep offering them to see if they seem to be winners. And then just the more people find out about classes, I think we get more and more people that are interested in everything that we have to offer.
But even with a class size of 10, you're still getting some of that individualized attention from the instructor, the subject matter expert.
Oh, absolutely. And we make sure that particularly with classes that there's a safety component, concern, that we have enough instructors to really address the needs of all of the students.
Great.
I think our largest class was probably 260, which of course was a conference, and we had lots of support for that, but we have a wide range of class sizes, that's for sure.
Wonderful. All right, well, it looks like we've kind of answered the questions in the chat. We look forward to the kit classes that are coming out in the next week.
Yeah, we're very excited about those.
Enchiladas, yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, well, and Morgan, I got to give you some credit, right? I mean, it was a conversation with you that really kind of sparked that idea.
Lots of creative juices, right?
Yeah, and people have been taking that and running with it.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen now and share a little bit about